Hello, everybody. Welcome to another wonderful week. It's Monday. Have a good Monday. Mind you, days don't really mean much to me anymore. I feel like since I've had a baby, they've all merged into one. It's just another day. The only thing that keeps me recognizing whether it's Monday or Friday is, of course, the charts and whether or not I'm able to trade. So I hope you all had a great weekend. There was lots of Black Friday. We have got Cyber Monday today. Did anyone get anything new? I got my partner a new phone. She runs her business and thought I'd upgrade her to one with a better camera so she can take some nice pictures of her jewelry and, of course, of the new little man. We figured it's good to have a good phone camera because those moments go so quickly. So it's nice to be able to quickly capture them. But yes, I had a great weekend. Didn't really get out much. I stayed in. It was nice, but very productive. And sometimes it's really good to have those weekends where you just hunker down, get yourself organized, and I guess get your life on track or catch up on the things that you haven't really had the time to do during the week. So that's the first thing I'm finding gratitude for today is just having that time, that catch up time, that self time, that time to really cross all the T's and dot all the I's and make sure that you're not falling behind too far. And of course, I'm very grateful for my partner, the ability to, I don't know how single parents do it. Like, that's so impressive. I mean, I love my little man like crazy, but I also love the ability to have a break. It's nice to be in a partnership where, you can look after him for a while and then you get your time to yourself, or, I get someone to look after him during these calls so I can be on with you every morning and vice versa. So to all single parents, my hat goes off to you because it does build up. But yeah, I'm very grateful, very, very grateful to have a partner who can take over for a bit. I'm also very grateful to be living in a lifestyle where I have the opportunity to stay at home and work from home and watch him grow, watch my family. And spoke to a lot of my family over the internet this weekend. So I'm very grateful to be living in a world where, you can, at the click of a button, be speaking to someone on the other side of the world 10 hours ahead, 6 hours ahead, whatever it is. So I'm very grateful for all the little things in life and for all the major advancements in technology that we've had as well that keep us up to date with the new exciting things all over the globe. So chuck into the group chat some of your gratitude from the weekend. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Grateful for people who give a hand up. Definitely. Hello, everyone. Good morning to all. I'm grateful for an abundant weekend, for being privileged to start the weekend with this group of people, for looking forward to another week of learning. Good morning. Well, today I'm especially grateful for my nice warm and dry home with food in the freezer on a day with falling snow and wind chill temps to minus 27 degrees. Damn, that sounds cold. Yeah, I would be looking forward to it. I'd be very grateful for the ability to rug up at minus 27 degrees. That is cold. I think the coldest I've ever been in is minus 25. And that was when I was in Canada. And that wasn't pleasant. That was a stay inside kind of day. You don't want to be out when it's colder than that. So minus 27, that's impressive. Balmy. Does anyone feel like unmuting themselves and sharing their gratitude out loud to the group? I would like to make this more of a community base where we all share and get involved. So if there is anyone that would like to share their gratitude with the group for today, please feel free to do so. I'll just read some more of these. Grateful for a warm home, finance to pay the bills, family time with sport, Christmas shopping, dinner, and putting the Christmas tree up. Yeah, I think that's probably going to be on the cards for next weekend. I do love Christmas, but I hate it before December. I'm all for the Christmas and getting involved, but until it's December time, I refuse to partake in anything Christmas. So we're getting to the end of the month now. So I think next weekend, Christmas decorations / Christmas tree will be starting to come on the to-do list. Also incredibly grateful for our firstborn who is 18 today. Oh, happy birthday. That's awesome. So grateful that I was able to spend the last 2 days with Dee, the roof over my head, and the food that I eat. Yum. Grateful for the weekend, had a combined weekend of get some house responsibilities accomplished and also some rest. Looking forward to a week of learning and growing. I'm grateful that although I felt like giving up last week on trading, that this week I can come back with a new attitude, believing that I can do hard things and having grace for myself with all the emotions that comes with it. Yeah, good on you. I've had many a week where I've gone like, you know what? That's it. This isn't for me. Friday comes along, slam the laptop down and I'm storming off. And then it gets to Monday and I'm like, okay, you can do this, Jake. Don't worry. Pull those emotions back. It's going to be okay. And being able to jump back on. So if you felt like quitting, do not worry, you're not alone. And honestly, if you felt like quitting at anything in life, good, because it means you're challenging yourself. You're challenging yourself to a point where you're really pushing your boundaries. If you didn't fail at anything, if you didn't struggle at anything, if you didn't want to quit, then you're really not pushing yourself to those limits. You're really not growing. And as Deanna was saying on Thursday, it's those leaving that comfort zone, going through fear, heading into learning, and then growth. And along with that comes, frustration and anger and points of wanting to give up, right? I've been there so many times, but anything worth anything is worth pushing through those boundaries. And well, one thing that I look at now is when I hit that limit, when I hit that point of like, this sucks, I want to give up, I can't do this anymore, that's when I know that I'm in my growing stage. That's when I know that I'm stretching my bounds. That's when I know that I'm about to take those leaps forward and get over the peak of that mountain and really and that's when I know I need to push even harder and keep going and find that extra motivation. So good on you for getting to that point and sticking with it, because lots of people will get to that point and just quit. And that's not growth. That's just quitting, right? It's the ability to get to that point, acknowledge it, give yourself the 5 minutes of emotion, give yourself the day or two of emotion, whatever it takes, but then acknowledge that this is the boundary of my current knowledge and experience. And here is where I'm growing. And here is the point where I need to keep pushing, because here is where I'm actually going to learn and develop and grow new skills. I'm grateful for the many amazing connections that have been attracted into my life. So good. I didn't look at it that way. Yeah, it changed my perspective actually when I looked at it that way. And that's actually a perfect little segue. If no one wants to unmute and share their gratitude, I shall move on. A perfect little segue into what I want to talk about today and try and lead into the week. So today I want to talk about perspective, because there's a little motto that I've lived my life by. I actually have it up. You probably can't see, but this very top picture up here, it's actually a picture of me. It says, life is all about perspective. Remember, you can always find a different point of view, right? And it's so true. Life is all about perspective. Everything we do in life and everything we come into contact with or see or perceive is all just a construct of ideas that we hold in our mind based on the current information that we have. I know that might be hard to wrap your head around, but it's basically a construct of the ideas we have on our mind about a specific situation based on the information that we currently have. Okay. And so whenever you come to any point of view or any situation or any crossroads or any tough point in your life, maybe like wanting to quit, take a step back and kind of think, okay, what frame am I looking at this from? Or what hat am I wearing when I'm observing this situation or this frustration or this tough decision? Am I looking at this, for example, the situation from the father or the son, just using myself an example? Like if my kid's screaming, am I looking at it from the father who's frustrated that wants to work and can't handle a kid screaming? Or should I take my, put my feet in his shoes, very, very small shoes, and think maybe he's screaming for something. Maybe he's in agony. Maybe he's in pain and he can't communicate. So let's have a little bit of sympathy and try and work with him to figure out what it is. And as soon as we can start to pull ourselves out of our current frame of mind and try and put it into a different perspective or a different outlook, then we can really start to find sympathy for people and really start to find different ideas on the same circumstances, which can really open our mind up to many, many different areas and different points of view and different beliefs, ideologies, and it can go very, very, very much further. So, if you're looking at sport and you're sitting there on your couch screaming at the TV, thinking you know exactly what's right and what's happening, but then you hear the referee make a call and everyone's screaming at him. Is it the referee? What about taking a step back and maybe looking at it from the player's perspective or the referee's perspective? And you can see the exact same situation played out in many different ways, right? And this is actually a pretty good example of a paradigm shift. And what a paradigm shift is kind of, you may hear me talk about these a bit, and I know it was a while for me to get my head wrapped around this idea, but it's basically a new influx of knowledge that shifts the way you see a current situation to such a level that it's irreversible. So have you ever been listening to a story and then all of a sudden you've got like your mind set on what you think's happening, and then the next bit of information comes and you're just like mind blown. Oh my God, I didn't think about it like that. I can never turn back and I can't unsee or unhear the information that I've heard. Check some ones in the chat if you've ever been in that kind of situation. And maybe you've even been like, oh, I should have kept my mouth shut. I spoke a little bit too soon. I didn't have all the information. One. Yeah, definitely getting some ones. Yeah, and it's happened to many of us. Sometimes when you do get that last bit of information, we either go, oh, hide away and get all embarrassed. But what I implore you to do from here on is go, yeah, okay. I didn't really see it like that. Let's see how I can then attack this situation. Let's see what else I can do to maybe help you or to gain more knowledge to help me in a better way. There's a couple of stories I want to lead with that. So I find that if you can get one of these examples, I'm going to share a few with you, both visual and verbal. If you can get one of these to stick and then use this whenever you find yourself frustrated, like whenever you get to that point of like, oh, I can't handle this, or you find your emotions just taking over and like running and you just like can't handle it, or you're getting to a point of like, I just don't know what to do from here. I want you to think back to this exact podcast or this exact call and try and get one of these stories or visuals, because I know people are different learners and they learn in different ways. So I'm going to try and explain it in both and think about it. Go, okay, that's right. I remember this story. This is what happened. Let's see if I can implement that in this situation. So the first story I want to tell you is about, I want you to imagine you're sitting there in traffic, right? It's been a long day at work. You've got a bunch of things you've got to do when you get home, and you're sitting bumper to bumper, and you're not going anywhere, and you're just getting more and more frustrated. And you're just like, watching the time tick away. And you're like, oh my God, when will this traffic move? And then all of a sudden you hear this whew, whew, whew. Ambulance starts coming in. So everyone starts moving over and getting up even closer. And then shoo, off goes that ambulance. And only like a second later, there's this Ferrari, like brand new Ferrari, just zoom, right behind it. And you're just thinking to yourself, oh, what a dick. How dare he? Like, we're all stuck in this traffic. He's got this nice car. He's just like using this ambulance to slip right behind all the traffic and skip it all. Like, I can't believe this guy. He's such an asshole. And you sit there and just get all irate and frustrated and continue to spiral down. But then later you find out that the reason he was doing that is because his wife was in the ambulance. Instantaneously, and put some ones in the chat if this one line shifted your entire perspective on the story, the situation. Instantaneously, you feel like, oh my goodness, I can't believe that. Like, what would I have done if that was my situation? I feel so sorry for this guy. Your feeling and emotion towards this guy of frustration and arrogance and, all this negativity just shifted immediately to empathy, sorrow. You feel like, oh my God, like I feel so sorry. Like, what can I do to help? And it's this, the point of this story is that one line of information shifted not only your thoughts, but your emotions, and in turn, your behaviors and what would have been actions if you were in that situation or if you could have done anything. Right. The second story is pretty similar. You're sitting on a train and you're, again, pretty busy. It's like peak hour, there's a few people on the train, and then all of a sudden, train stops. This guy jumps on, a few teenagers jump on, and they start making all this noise. They're just being so loud, disrespectful. They're screaming at each other. They're like running up and down the middle. One guy like knocks paper out of another person's hand, and you're just thinking to yourself, man, wish these kids would just behave themselves. Why isn't this guy doing anything? This goes on for another couple of stops, and then finally, like, that's it. I've had enough of this. Look, excuse me, are these your children? He's like, yep, yeah, they are. He goes, well, can you try and control them? Like, they're completely out of behavior. They're misbehaving. He just opened his eyes, kind of like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like, clearly they are. We've just come from the hospital and my partner's just passed away. I just don't know how to control them. Again, instantaneously, you've gone from this rude man, doesn't even know how to like handle his children, to, oh my goodness, how can I help you? I'm so sorry. Like that one little bit of information, that one bit of extra knowledge has changed your entire point of view. And in fact, has changed your entire situation. And if it can hit you strong enough, then it will actually change some of your beliefs and values within, to a point where next time you're sitting on a train and you see this kind of situation play out of misbehaving kids, you might think of this story and go, hang on, I should be quick not to jump on and have a go at these people. I should actually take a step back and see, maybe there's something else going on. Maybe there's some stuff underlying that I don't know about that can help me better sympathize or empathize with the people in this scenario. And do those stories make sense? Does it kind of explain, check some ones in the chat, if that sort of helped you understand what a paradigm shift is, or shifting that perspective? Yeah, we got a few ones in here. Totally. Right. So these are the kind of things that, when you hear them, they can't be unheard. Once you know about them, then they kind of stick with you. And this is what I believe to be a paradigm shift. And this is where I feel, if you start to dive deep within and find some of your, like we were discussing last week, your relationship with self, your relationship with money, could be your relationship with parents, your relationship with your partners, your relationship with siblings, the way you feel emotionally towards these people and have these relationships, I'm sure you can dig deep and find a situation where you just have to find that one bit of knowledge, that one little bit of the missing piece of the puzzle, which will create that paradigm shift, or will create that change in perspective, so that you can then relay back and go, oh, I can't believe I was such a dick to my sister because XYZ. I've got a little sister. We live on the other side of the world, love her to bits, but of course we argue like brother and sister. And so this is an example for me, like, maybe I shouldn't have been like this to my sister because I didn't know about this. Or, maybe my parents were like this to me the whole time because XYZ happened to them before I was born. And then you can ask the questions. You can start to unravel these situations and dig deeper to find out some of those beliefs. And this is what we talked about earlier. When you were younger, something happens, go straight to the subconscious, because your conscious mind can't justify or explain and defend the actions of the other person because you don't have enough knowledge, right? But now that we're older, we can dig deeper, shift the perspective from the situation that we're holding on to, whether it's with our relationship with money, our relationship with self, our relationship with parents, siblings, whatever, and actually go and find those key one lines of information that we can go, oh, that's why they did what they did. This all makes sense now. I don't have to hold that grudge. I can forgive, forget, move on, and I can have a completely different relationship with this person, money, myself. Is that making sense? I'm hopefully tying in some of the concepts we've been speaking about here and using the idea of shifting your perspective to dig within, find your core beliefs, find the values within that hold, who you are about certain areas of your life, peel back those layers like we've discussed, and try and create those paradigm shifts so you can live the life that you sort of choose. Now, I did say I'd share some visuals with you, so I'm just going to, for the next little bit, share a couple of these visuals. So give me 1 second. So who has seen, I'm going to chuck this one. Who's seen this little visual before? Yes. Yeah, it sounds so easy, much harder to do. And you're totally right. Like, the concept is easy, the actual process and action is a lot more difficult. But I think the more we discuss them and the more we find ways that we can start to help change the situation or add more information to how we can develop or change these things, then the easier it will become. And it's so much easier for me to say, just do this and your life will be however you like it. But the truth is, all of these things take work, take consistency, take repetition, right? And showing up every morning, trying to learn about mindset. And this is the whole point of this call, is to just add little bits of information each morning, just to compound and compile and grow a knowledge of skill set, which you can then apply to different situations, whether it's future situations or whether it's past situations. And so this calls, this community, this podcast, whatever you want to call it on, wherever you're listening to it, is designed to just slowly build on itself. build a group of communities, so people who want to share and have inputs, and just build the knowledge. Like, I'm just sharing the things that I'm learning and hopefully putting them in a compiled way that we can then go and use or utilize to start shifting some of these core beliefs into the directions that we want. I'm dealing with a loved one starting over, struggling with addiction and homelessness. If I had money, I could do more. If I'd been successful trading, I could help. I feel so disappointed I'm not further along. Yeah, it's really hard, especially if your heart comes from the right spot, wanting to be successful in order to help others. And this is one thing that I find very interesting, is that a lot of the time, people will find that extra incentive when it's not for themselves. Their relationship for others is even stronger than it is for themselves. And that when they have someone else, like, you might find that this person, whoever it may be, becomes your new why, and that you find it within to make the changes that you haven't been making so that you can become successful for this person. And it's a very interesting concept, because you could give this person money and help them, but the harsh reality is that people who have got addictions and are in homelessness have slowly built a path to get themselves to that situation more often than not. Please don't take it personally. I don't know the situation, speaking generalized here. But they've done a certain few steps that have gotten themselves to this situation. And so it's not about them just getting the money to help. It's not about them just having a place to go, while these things do help. But they really need to look within and take these exact same concepts and figure out what it is inside them, where their beliefs and values are, and what they feel about themselves, what emotions they hold towards themselves, so they can realize why they've got this addiction and why they've continued down this path, and what do they have that's worth shifting, or how can they find a new piece of knowledge to make them realize that they need to change as well. I've had family members go down with addiction, and it's been a hard struggle and hard road, and I've seen them come out the other side, and I've had other people friends who've gone down addiction not come out the other side. It's a very hard path. But this is the one thing that I've learned in dealing with all these people, is that you can want it for them 10 times more than they can want it for them. And you can give them all the things and all the help and all the stuff to get them out of their situation. But the truth is, they're not going to get themselves out until they truly want to get themselves out. It's not about having the money, the time, the situation, while these things do help, but it's about truly wanting it for themselves and finding within the core beliefs and core values which have led them down that path to get them to where they are today, and figuring out, holy shit, I've got more than this, or holy shit, I'm worth more than this. I do have loved ones. I do have people to heal support. I'm going to make these moves for myself. And so I know I've gone off a bit off topic here, but this hits relatively close to my home as well. So while you can use this person as a why to help yourself make these changes that you may not be making for yourself, at the end of the day, helping them understand why they're there and their actual worth and their relationship with themselves is going to be probably more effective than having the money or the things to give to them and then being disappointed in yourself for not having those things. Because really, by being disappointed in yourself for not being further along, you're just letting it affect two people rather than just the one person. But if you can just be proud of yourself and continue on, use them as a sort of new why, and find the strength to do it for you, which hopefully once your cup's full can overflow to them, then it's kind of taking their negative situation and using it as a positive for you, rather than taking their negative situation and using it as a negative for you. Agreed. Money alone will not help. Yeah, exactly. So sorry, I went off a bit off topic there, but I think it's also really important to understand, because addiction and those sorts of things also come from your core beliefs and values. So these things can drive a very positive outlook, and they can also drive a very negative outlook. So this little cartoon that I showed, which a few people have seen, is simply a 6 or a 9 laying on the ground with two people opposite ends, staring at it. Thanks, Jake. Everyone deserves safe space. Yeah, everyone deserves safe space, no matter where you've been through or what you've done. I totally agree. This next one that you may have seen. Actually, I'll try this one. Has anyone seen this? So obviously, if you're stranded out at sea, you'd be stoked to find land. If you're stuck on an island, you'd be absolutely stoked to find a boat, right? It's all about perspective. These two people want the exact thing that the other person has, whether or not it's beneficial for their situation. Right, the next one, we did that one. What if I was to tell you that these two are the same thing? Has anyone seen this before? Right on the right, we have a lion. And on the left, we have a picture of what looks like a penis. So while you might think you look like a lion, to others, you might seem like a dick. And as you can see here, we have a giraffe drawing a picture from above. And so this is kind of the overall outlook. It's all about different perspective. And then what if I was to tell you that these two are the same shape? Here's some chats, some comments in the chat. If I was to say these two are the same shape, let's hear what people have to say. Either tell me what shape it is or what you think. No, they're not the same shape. Do not see the same shape. No, can't see the same shape. So on the left, looks totally different. On the left, it looks like we have diamond and circle. So on the left, it looks like we've got an orange kind of diamond. And on the right, we have a circle, both square outside. Yep. Getting people's brains thinking. Okay. Well, there's always three sides to any story. Yours, mine, and the truth. And I'm going to show you this picture, and hopefully you'll see that this is the same shape. You're only just seeing part of the story, right? So actually what it is, it's the light reflection from a cylinder, one coming from the front, which creates a circle, one coming from the side, which creates a square. And so while this is true that this is a square and this is true that this is a circle, the truth is that this is actually a cylinder, so it is the same shape. Right, and this is a visual that really hits home with me. And this exact image here is something that stands out and hits me like a ton of bricks every time I need to find a different perspective. And then just to put this up just a little notch further, this is actually also a false dichotomy because there's other perspectives that you can look at too. So we have a really weird shape here, but that creates three different shapes depending on which way you look at it, and none of which are the truth. So have some consideration for others when you're quickly to jump into a state to have your opinion and to, I don't want to say attack anyone, but give your voice and just understand that life is about perspective in every single situation. And you can find truth in every single situation. You can find lies in every single situation, but it doesn't mean that they aren't part of the same story. Okay? I live my life by this motto, life is about perspective. And every time I find myself getting swayed or over emotional or controlling or overbearing, I have to take a step back, visualize one of these or remember one of these stories that I've shared with you today, kind of give the other person some gratitude or shift my perspective on a situation. So that brings us to the end of today's episode / call. So for my traders, I will see you in a minute. Our trading call starts very soon. And for those of you listening on the podcast or not in the trading team, I look forward to speaking to you again tomorrow. We're going to try and dive into this same concept, but on the charts. And so see how we can find more information to really help ourselves take better trades. So I hope that helped a few people. And yes, thank you so much, Aaron, for your vulnerability. I saw a comment in the chat here that I wanted to thank you for being vulnerable and sharing. It's okay to be scared. We're here for you, praying for you and your family. I totally agree, Tamika. Thank you so much for your kind words. It's very nice. And she's totally right. We're all here for you. This is a growing community, all here to help each other. All right, with that, I shall love you and leave you, and I'll speak to you tomorrow. Bye.